Are you ready for the heavyweight championship of the world? Are you ready?
All right, welcome back to another episode of Ant in His Corner. My name is Bill, and I'm ready to fight.
And my name is Barry, and I'm ready to fight.
All right, I want a good, clean fight. Let's get it on.
All right, welcome to Ant in His Corner, where we settle the score once and for all on who's the best. That includes best music, best shows, best anything, best movies, hint, hint, wink, wink. This week, what we talking about, Bill?
All right, this week, Barry and I are going to discuss our top 10 movie franchises. Top 10 movie franchises.
Cool. And then, hey, a lot of this stuff we're not going to agree on. I mean, a lot of it we will, because we grew up in the same era somewhat. I grew up on the back end of your beginning era. Yeah, so, hey, look, if we don't agree, it's cool, but it's easier for you guys to split the difference. A lot of this is based off of opinion. It's like my mom always said, if like 5 or more people agree, that means it's a fact. So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. Just drop your 2 cents down below.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
All right, hey Bill, you know what? Fill everybody in on the rules.
Okay, top 10 movie franchises. A movie franchise for us, our rules consists of 3 or more movies within that series. So if a movie has a sequel, that's not a movie franchise. If it has 3 or more, such as Toy Story, that's going to be a movie franchise.
Yeah. That means Bad Boys gets in because they just recently had a sequel, and we don't care time lag between sequels. Like if part 2 came out in that, all right, cool.
I don't care. Yep.
I'm cool with that. Every movie on my list obeys that. All right, so here's what we're doing. Not necessarily competition today, but still we're gonna keep this regulation style. So we'll do a coin toss, and what'll happen is we'll go backwards. So round 1 will basically be our number 10, and round 10 will be our number 1. Yep. And basically to decide who goes first, we'll do a coin toss. You are ready to flip that coin, Bill?
Ready. Hey Siri, flip a coin.
Tails.
Tails.
All right, cool. With this one, I don't mind going first. So we do that. All right, so hey, let's do it. Round 10. All right, so my number 10, it's a movie that surprisingly I didn't really grow up with this, and it was just one of those things where I felt like the fan base alienated some folks. Bill was one of the people that actually made me go back and watch it. I just remember he spoke so heavily of this. So it's Indiana Jones.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it's like I like the movies. I thought the movies were okay. I couldn't remember which one was which, but I remember we were having a discussion on one of our movie-related frat group chats, and Bill was just going hard for this movie. I said I might need to give that a rewatch, and I just Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the best biblical movies I could think of, and I didn't even look at it that way from a kid standpoint. And then 2 is the one that a lot of people like, but I'm like 3 actually goes harder than 2. So I feel like it's strong. I'm looking forward to what they could do now that they're trying to like add some more energy. And I know a lot of people didn't really rock with part 4 like that. So hopefully they could get this franchise back on the tracks. But I got Indiana Jones, solid trilogy, solid franchise. I mean, say what you will about part 4. I feel like with a franchise related, if 50% of your movies are great or good, I mean, that's a decent franchise to me. And this one has more than 50%. So yeah, that's my number 10.
That's a good pick. Again, guys, this is not what we think is the best. This is just our personal. So let me get that out there. It's our own personal preference. Okay. So for me, I'm going to go number 10, Rocky. I did just a couple of changes here and there, but Rocky, I had to come in at number 10, Sylvester Stallone. And even with Rocky now, when you have the 2 Creed movies to come afterwards, it counts. So technically we got 7 movies within this franchise.
Solid. And
very solid.
What's your favorite out of the whole trilogy? I said trilogy, but the whole 7. It might be more than 7 now that I'm thinking about
It's 7. It's 7. They had 5. Nope, I'll take that back.
Nah, it's 6.
No, it's 8. It's 8. It's
there
8.
we go, because Rocky Balboa counts as 6, right?
That's 6. Rocky Balboa counts as 6. That's the one with Antonio Tarver.
Yeah.
Out of, right.
Yeah.
From the Bay Area. And then you got the 2 Creed. So 8 movies. My favorite one,
tough.
Rocky 4.
Yeah, man. I feel like a lot of, bro, that's when the franchise.
He dies.
That's the most quotable. That's the first movie I ever seen with like 18 montages, and Sylvester Stallone directed it, and it's so cheesy, but I love that one. So that might be my favorite as well. So.
Yeah. For 3, I like 3 though. Clubber Lang, boy. He beat the dog out of him.
I mean, all of them are special. I even rock with
they all
5.
are.
Yeah, because I rock with 5, and a lot of people hate it. So
with Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy Gunn,
The street fight, it broke a lot of the rules, but I rock with it. So strong pick. We're gonna get into 9 right now.
Yep.
So with 9, I got the Mighty Ducks. There's a couple movies that I've watched. Mighty Ducks 2 may be Mighty Ducks 2, or maybe Ghostbusters 2 may be the movie that I've rewatched the most in my entire life. Not necessarily my favorite movie, but it's definitely, at a time it was in my top 5. As I got older, it's possibly still in my top 10, Mighty Ducks 2. But it's a great film, very inspiring, one of the best sports movies out there. And it's just at a time where Disney was releasing low budget films that became classics. And I love it. I love the kids, all of the personalities. It's basically like one of those, everyone represents a cliche that you see in a lot of children movies. I could quotes for days in both parts. I love part 2. Part 1 may be it's the better movie, so that just shows you how strong it is. Part 3, I don't really rock with. I like part 3, but I understand why a lot of people don't like it. I put my kids on this. We watch it all the time as a family. Disney Plus recently released a series. Wasn't rocking with the series, but I still love the original trilogy. Let me not say I don't like part 3. It's just I understand part 3 is a weak link. But for the first 2 are so strong to where I'm like, this is one of my favorite franchises. I can't leave it off the list, especially with the amount of times that I've watched Mighty Ducks 2. Like, I used to check this movie out from the library. I didn't have a Blockbuster card. You see the shirt. So, I had one, but it was at my daddy's house, and I wasn't trying to get no late fee. Yeah. So, but I used to check it out from the library, and I checked it out like 6 months straight. And they used to let you hold the VHS for like at the time 3 days, and I checked it out. Yeah, I used to check it out every day, recheck it out every 3 days for like 6 months straight, and me and my family just watched it like crazy. So the Mighty Ducks franchise is that number.
That's 9. A good one. That's a good one.
All right, cool.
All right, number nine, man. Whew. Friday.
Okay.
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, number 9. I got a lot of movies that I love, a lot of series that I love, but it's something special about Friday. Mm-hmm. I remember it. The first Friday plays so much on USA.
Yeah, USA.
The edited version.
Yes.
They play that first.
That's why I first experienced it, and it shows. It used to show up back in the day, like every week, basically, and it's
every week.
And it's considered. It's the number 1 hood movie.
I mean, there's no bad one. I know certain people didn't like part 2 as much as 1 and 3, but even with part 2, that's the introduction to Day Day, and the introduction to Pinky. Yeah, and then
I don't hear any negatives about the franchises. I know there's some people that I know haven't seen part 3, but they don't have anything negative to say about part 3. So
I mean, part
Holy Moly, Donut Shop,
what?
Top Flight Security.
Listen, Holy Moly he was my favorite character from part 3.
Pimp
was
down,
so funny.
You got a lot of characters. So for me, the franchise is rich in characters, and it's like it contains the number 1 hood movie of all time. So you got to give it respect. I'm glad it got some type of representation on our.
I had to bring it in because, I mean, man, like 1, 2, and 3 all so different, and then we even could consider, as we do Die Hard, we can consider Friday After Next a Christmas movie. Because
it is a Christmas movie.
Is it exactly?
Yeah, I don't know if that's up for that. There's no thin line with that one. It's definitely a Christmas movie.
Absolutely. So we go Friday for my number 9.
Love it. All right, so now we get into 8. It's Kobe time. So Toy Story. I got Toy Story at number 8, and you could have a conversation with somebody and then ask them what's their favorite Toy Story, and no matter what number they say, there's no need to debate.
Yeah.
Part 1 may be the best one, and I remember for the longest I used to think Part 2 was the weak link, and I watched Part 2 as an adult, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty strong. I forgot all of these elements being a part of this. You know what I mean? That's when. Part 3. Man, between Part 3 and 1, I'm not sure which one's my favorite. You know, I may be going with 1 for sentimental reasons, but it's hard for me to say that Part 3 wasn't the one. I thought I was like, it's a big mistake to make this a trilogy. And when it came out, I was so pleasantly surprised that I was like, wow, they on point. Part 4, the way it ended, that movie grew up with me. As like I was there. I was Andy's age, like a little younger than Andy when Part 1 was released, and I had just finished college when Part 3 was released. So I'm like, I'm growing up with the guy. So it's like, it's a strong franchise. Pixar's best work. It's the franchise that launched Pixar and made them relevant. So
yeah,
I got Toy Story.
I mean, hey, it's funny because I believe Toy Story is top 10 highest grossing franchise of all time. So yeah, man,
you do not expect that from an animated feature. Disney. You do not expect that when it's not Disney related. I mean, eventually Pixar was bought out by Disney, but they was doing Tropicana commercials, and it was like when I saw Toy Story, like the trailer, I was like, this looks weird. This isn't going to be successful. And then I saw it. It was magic. Like this is our. It's a strong film. At the end of the day, like whenever I see the Pixar brand, I trust it mainly because of what they did with this with that franchise.
Quality, bro, quality. It has one of the biggest, most recognizable theme songs.
You got a friend of me.
You got a friend of me, man. You got a friend of me.
Randy Newman, all over the soundtrack.
Yes, sir. I'm not mad at that one though. So I'm gonna hop on to my number 8, man. I switched something again, so y'all got to bear with me. Number 8, Underworld. Underworld. A lot of people may not mess with this series, but man, when the Lycans and the vampires, when it first came out, man, I was like, oh snap, what's going on? Because it wasn't like a typical like the Twilight series, so it wasn't that. It was something different. So
the issue with that franchise, because you and Willie are one of our other frat brothers, you guys go hard for this franchise. And I told Willie, I said I watched Part 1 and I remember Part 1 being decent. I just never kept up with the rest. And the main reason, this came out around the same time that Resident Evil was launched. And I'm not gonna lie, I used to get these franchises mixed up when it came to their promotion. And that's why one has a cult following and it's really bad. The other one has a cult following to where they say they're respectable films. So I'm like, I will admit, like I didn't rock with this franchise hard, but I've been convicted because you and Willie, I'm like, all right, I may have to go back and just see what y'all talking about.
Man, that Underworld, man. Selena? Yeah. Oh man.
If you agree with him, and I'm tripping, just go ahead and let me know.
Man. Hop in, go down. Y'all know what to do. Man, that was one of the best ones, man. Like Underworld 1, 2 were tight. Underworld 3 was a prequel to the whole franchise. I didn't like Underworld 4. I didn't like that one, but then they redeemed themselves with the 5th one. So
all right, so it's 5 in total, right?
It's 5 in total. The 4th one I did not like at all.
Cool. I can let that out.
Man, but just to know where they came from, to find out how the first werewolf came, all right. Play with it. Number 8, Underworld. Let's go, Celine.
All right, so hey man, 7. So check this out. Number 7 contains my third favorite movie of all time, which is it's Die Hard, Christmas movies. I don't care what anybody says, it's a Christmas movie. It's so festive. But part 1 is definitely the best one in the franchise. But part 3 is not too far behind. And this is making my countdown off of the strength of basically 2 movies. It's just 1 being my third favorite movie of all time, and 3 coming really close. I just think that with the pairing of him and Samuel L. Jackson, this is the first time I remember thinking, oh, Samuel L. Jackson's cool. Because he was always like a villain to me. Like, he was like, that's the guy that robbed the McDowells. Or that's the guy that was Jerry Curl wanted to pop on school days, you know? I'm like, he always a bad dude, just talking. So I'm like, oh, he's actually a good leading man or co-leading man. So 7, I got Die Hard. It's just my personal favorite. I watch this movie religiously every Christmas. This is before the debate started. Is it a Christmas movie or not? This has been my tradition since I've been in high school, to where I would be at my dad's house during Christmas break. And then I just carried that tradition. Like, it reminds me of December. It's like, wow, like every December I'm watching Die Hard. I watch that movie every year. So it has to make my top franchise list because one of the installments I watch every year. And then part 3, probably every other year.
Yeah. I love part 3. Part 3 is probably my most,
and
it's probably my favorite one.
I'm really into brain teasers, so I would say I probably rock with Simon more than his brother Hans. Like, as a villain, I rock with Simon heavier, because I'm just like, the way he was playing with them, had them figuring out riddles. To this day, I love solving brain teasers in case I ever get a call and somebody says, hey, you got 8 seconds to solve this or else I'm blowing up, Fort Knox. So I'm always into that. Yeah, but go ahead.
That's quality, man. Quality 7. Quality
Appreciate
7.
It. Appreciate
All right, so let me go ahead and hop to my 7. Hey, we ride, we die. Bad boy. Let's go.
Yeah, the only movie, I mean, the physics are off. I don't know if it's the most beneficial way to hold a gun. Stylistically, I'm not mad at this pick.
Bad boy. The first one dropped in 95, if I'm not mistaken, 95, 96.
Yes, it's 96.
Second one dropped around 2002.
Okay, 2002.
2003. 2002, 2003.
Okay, all right.
I'm giving like a little window.
Okay, are you going by school years? So I feel you.
Well, not school, just kind of trying to get it right.
I remember. I remember.
What was it? 2018 or 19? The last one dropped. 20.
Hey, we might need to double check on that one, because I remember. No, Shake Your Tail. Was Shake Your Tail Feather in that movie? Part 2.
Part 2. Yes.
Yeah, Shake Your Tail. When I first got my first car, and I got my first car as a junior, it would have been. Oh, it probably was 03, because I got it 03, 04.
Yeah, it was somewhere. It was somewhere around it.
It was
anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, we still have a good 7 to 8. 7, 8, 6, 7, 8 year gap between 1 and 2, and 2 did not fall off from 1.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, 2 was funnier.
It raised the stakes. It is funnier. I remembered part 1 being funnier, but when I went back and watched it, it's really an action movie, and Martin's and Will sprinkle jokes within it. Yeah. But part 2, they were more aggressively hilarious. That's why it's more quotable. Part 2 is probably the more mainstream success, because I know a lot of people culturally it's successful, but also people outside the culture rock with it. I didn't have a problem with part 3. Like, I think it's a drop off heavily. Definitely from part 1 and 2. But I'm interested. I want to see more stories with them, to see them kind of set up.
Me personally, they shouldn't have waited that long.
Yeah, shouldn't have. But
when you're talking about doing it, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
You got Martin. Obviously now Martin's bigger. You can tell now he put on the weight.
I felt like he was bigger on part 2, but it's a bigger,
he was, but not he wasn't. When you go from 1 to 2, yes, he did. But when you go from 2 to 3,
it's different.
He was like, okay, you can't be running around like how you.
And you could leave part 3 out of the discussion, because at the end of the day, part 1 and 2 are so solid. It's enough to catapult this into your top.
It's crazy.
Into your top 10 based off of the strength of those two.
Yeah. So those two, you know,
Mike
Lowry, man, and Marcus Burnett. So, you know, they did a good job, man. The boys on screen chemistry.
On
screen chemistry is
the storyline. The storyline behind it when it came out, I remember the one from the like 2 number 1 Black sitcom leaders are gonna join forces to make a movie.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true.
That's all I thought about. It was like Martin from Fox and Will from NBC. They're making a movie. Okay, this is definitely gimmicky, but they came to play. I love part. Man,
they did it. They did it.
I love the mystery on part 1 because it's actually they solving the act. They looking for clues and stuff. They're real cops. On part 1, on part 2, they like Navy SEALs. Like they wilding a little bit.
Oh man, that was wilding, man.
But stylistically, I love the action, the driving. In part
they did good.
Excuse me, part 2. Yeah, I mean, part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah. All right, so
all right,
moving
6.
along,
What you got?
We at, hey man, I got Matrix. I love Matrix 1. I love Matrix 2. I love Matrix 3. I think a lot of people have gotten bullied into like hating the franchise now, but I remember at the time there was no other action franchise doing what they were doing. So I just remember the novelty around that. And it looked, even though it looked cheesy back in the day, everything looked cheesy. So even the fight against the Agent Smiths on part 2, I remember like, this is still different. Like, wow, he's still Neo is crazy. Part 1 is definitely the superior film. I like part 3, what they did in Zion, where it showed the war, because they have been building up to this war against the Decepticons. I mean, the machines. And I was like, oh, they really having a war. Like, so I like the meaning, the symbolism underneath it, the story. It's just, I love the franchise. I love
Jesus.
Bro, it's like, man, this movie. The same way people say Star Wars is basically like plot for plot. It helps people understand like biblical stories and stuff like that.
Superman as well.
This and another movie on my countdown was the best, like within my spiritual walk, to help me understand, like decipher what the Bible is trying to say. I'm like, okay, I get it a little bit. On some parts they tripping, but the parts that they hit on, they really hit. So like I love this franchise. Even if I'm disappointed with what they do with the whole reboot thing they got going on, I'm here for it, and I'm going in anxious.
I am going to watch it.
Yeah, I'm going in anxious, hoping that they could deliver at least 30% of what they're promising.
My favorite one was part 2 when he knew he was the one. They started flying and the twins.
I had to tell you, Bill, because I know that's your favorite. But we had this discussion a while back. I said, bro, a lot of people don't rock with part 2. I said, go online.
Crazy.
They don't like it that much.
They're
but
crazy.
I rock with the whole franchise, man. I like
definitely.
Yeah. What you got at 6?
All right, number 6. It may be a little low on my list compared to, because I do know that it is a cult classic for a lot of people. But I have Star Wars at number 6.
Okay.
Star Wars, I remember my dad and I long time ago went to go watch it. We saw the part. Okay, so they went back and did prequels, but the original first 3.
You saw episode 4, 5, and 6. A New
4, 5, and 6. But my dad and I went to the movies and saw part 6, which back then would have been part 3. Today is part 6.
Yeah.
But I remember having the ship. As a toy, my dad bought me toys. Man, like this is one of the greatest and culturally the biggest franchise of all time.
Yeah, it is. It's somebody somebody's pulling on his cape right now, but it's culturally, American wise, in the Western world, it's number 1.
Yeah, it's number 1. It's hands down number 1. I remember one of the battles being between Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah,
but Star Trek, but
they don't left
a lot of Trekkies,
but
no, man, Star Wars is just number 1. Man, I mean, here you go again though. Who's in You know, we said Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Now we're going right back. Your boy's in this one too.
Yeah, Han Solo. He's outside of. I think Samuel's kind of taking that seat now as the one that's involved in the most epic franchises. But back in the day, it used to be Han Solo. Like everything he touched used to turn to gold. So
yeah,
hey man, I'm not mad at that pick. Solid. A lot of people would agree with you.
Star Wars.
Yeah,
and it's funny. Once a year, what's Star Wars Day or what? May the 4th.
May the 4th.
Yeah. May the 4th be with you. So
then you got Revenge of the 5th right after, and then it's they got like that franchise has been able to kind of like squeeze popularity out of itself because it's just so quotable.
Yeah,
a lot of movies copy off of what they're doing. And then you can't help, even if you don't really rock with the franchise like that, you can't escape its fingertips on culture. Like every movie steals a quote or a theme from it. So good pick, solid pick. We getting into the getting into the mud right now. So top 5, let's get dirty. So part 5, I have it a little higher than you, Bill. I'm going with Rocky.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, the Sylvester Stallone films itself. Keep it at 5, but then what they did with Creed 1, you know, I like both Creeds, but I feel like Creed 1 reminded me of Rocky used to be, because a lot of people forget, like, I think Sylvester Stallone won for the pin on that, like for Oscar for just the script. I have to double check, but that used to be like an indie artsy type film, and then it went over the top, the popcorn movie. But I'm like, oh wow, Creed kind of took it back. And you get the whole backstory of what was going on in Apollo Creed's house with his son and everything. And then, but like you said, Rocky 1, love it. Rocky 2, love it. Rocky 3, love it.
Loved
Rocky
it.
4, love it. You know, and it's like, man, 4 was a big part of my childhood. I remember me and my friends fake boxing. Okay, you Drago, whatever. Drago was like the toughest opponent next to Iceland dudes off of Mighty Ducks 2. So I love it, and I got it. Bill said everything. I'm piggybacking off of it, saying everything Bill said, but for those reasons, I'm putting it a little higher on my list. 8 films, quality. Yeah.
All right. I'm at my top 5 now. So for number 5, Pirates of the Caribbean. Captain Jack Sparrow, man. Like quality. This is actually pretty funny for me to even have this franchise on my list because it took me a year, almost 2 years to get through the first movie.
Wow.
It was one part where I would always get to, and I cut it off because I was always like, this movie is so stupid. Like, it was when his ship was going in the water and he was standing at the very, very top of the where the flags are.
Oh wow, you stopped at the beginning.
I kept saying this movie is dumb. And then one day I said, I forced myself to keep watching. And what's funny is that I finished it. I said, man, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I went to the next one.
It's actually pretty good.
All right.
Went to the next one.
I've
actually
been
pretty
good.
good. Yeah. So for me, I remember my sister went to Peru when I was in high school, and she came back with all these bootlegs, and then Pirates was one. And I saw one and I remember liking it, but I just never, when they kept coming out with new movies, I just wasn't doing it. And then I remember our frat bros from UCF did a theme where they did Pirates of the Caribbean 2. And I was like, a lot of people in the audience understood the references. And I was like, I guess I need to go back and watch the franchise. So I rewatched 1. I remembered everything that happened in 1. I'm like, I already know this is a solid movie. Rewatched 2, and it was building up to part 3. Yeah. And part 3, for me, that's the real part of the franchise. I think it starts getting a little slippery slope because some people rock with 4. Some people don't. I'm okay if you don't, because I like to cut it off at that trilogy part. To me, those are the great films. After that, it gets a little debatable afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Jack Sparrow, awesome character. I don't know if you have a successful movie without Jack, because I know they're trying to do stuff with remakes and stuff.
And see, that's the problem. Like you go away from, and we're gonna one of my other series. We'll talk about that. About that. But for me, top number 5 is Pirates of the Caribbean. All right, Bear, it's on you. Number 4.
All right, number 4, man. All right, for sentimental reasons, my introduction to comic books, like all the stuff that's going on with Marvel right now, I remember where they were just not a thing. Like people weren't really rocking with comic books like that. And my cousins put me on XMen. I fell in love with a character named Cyclops, and I remember they had a Saturday morning cartoon. And when they started going through their bankruptcy battles around, it was the year for me was like 1990. Like 1999, I remember seeing a newspaper article like, oh, they coming out with all these movies. And I saw the slate and I was like, they really trying to do this X-Men thing? It's not gonna work. And then I saw the first X-Men and I was like, wow, everything that I done read on panels and seen on cartoons came to life. So with the X-Men franchise, there's a lot of hits and a lot of misses. Yep. If I disregard the misses, the hits are still enough to where I love the franchises and it's one of my better, like favorite franchises. Love X-Men 1. Love X-Men 2. I rock with X-Men 3. A lot of people don't rock with it, but I like the idea. She was killing everybody. I was so desperate to see Phoenix on the big screen, even though it wasn't done right. I was like, I'll take it. I rock with Days of Future Past, may be one of my favorite comic book movies.
You got to go back to First Class for that.
Excuse me. First Class. You got First Class. I'm missing probably.
No, you good.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So the Wolverine stuff, I don't really rock with. Logan is okay to me. But that Wolverine and the Wolverine Origins and the Wolverine, I don't really rock with like that. And Apocalypse was it was bad. But outside of that, to me, I still gave them, like, outside of Marvel Studios with Disney, they were getting B's. If Marvel was getting A's, they were getting B's, B minuses. And I was like, but X-Men, love the franchise. Days of Future Past, the amount of times I've watched that, it's enough to justify me putting this in number 4. So
that's quality. My favorite is Days of Future Past, which to me, that should have been a Wolverine movie.
It is.
That's the one that should have been.
It is,
because the first two were atrocious to me. But the
first two Wolverine movies.
The first two Wolverine movies, guys.
All right.
Don't kill me in the comments. First two Wolverine movies were atrocious. But I really didn't like the first X-Men, but the second X-Men, quality.
Yeah, the thing is,
quality.
First X-Men isn't that good if you watch it now, but I'm more so putting myself in the seat of when it came out. Like when I watched that movie, it's purely for sentimental reasons. I remember I remember this part was cool. Oh, I remember these graphics were cool. I remember what he did with the bullet, like holding the bullet in front of the cops' heads. Yeah, that part was like crazy. Nowadays you see it and it's like, all right, I don't know how high these stakes are. Yeah, but part two still holds up. A lot of part 1 does not hold up, but part 2 still holds up today. So I guess.
Absolutely quality series. Not mad at it. I'm with you on it, bro. I like it. All right. So number 4 for me, Jason Bourne. Bourne series.
The Bourne Identity, the Bourne Ultimatum. I'm missing one.
Supremacy, Bourne
Supremacy. Bro, that just those 3 right there, because I know they had the Bourne Legacy and the Bourne Jason Bourne after. I don't really count those.
So if you go back to what I was saying before about if they take the main character out, that's Jason Bourne, the movie. And that's where you have Legacy. The issue, because why is it called Jason Bourne when he ain't even in the movie? Yeah, and he's the reason why the movie is why it is.
And they thought about it. They said, hey, we messed up. And they tried to fix it up with Jason Bourne, the 5th installment. It just wasn't the same at that point. But them first 3.
What?
Yeah.
They couldn't miss. They couldn't miss.
3, I forgot the timing around it, but that, to me, the influential movies that came out that kind of like sprinkled culture all over the action genre, Matrix in 99, and then the Bourne Identity. The Bourne Identity basically made spy thrillers cool again. It was just like, hey, ain't nobody trying to see cheesy stuff in these action movies now. We want serious government plots, straight weapons, and then hand-to-hand combat. And it was like that a lot of what they do with the James Bond is it's derivatives of what they were seeing at Bourne at the time. So it's solid. I mean, if you hey man, if you on the run and you need a bodyguard, who you got? Man. John Wick, Jason Bourne. I mean,
we had these discussions. John Wick or Bourne, which one? Hand in hand. Who?
I don't know, but I just know Jason Bourne was built in a lab, and it's part of his DNA to not mess up. And I rarely see Bourne get whooped, right? I don't remember seeing him get tossed around.
No, he don't get tossed around like that.
Yeah, Wick is raw, but that's part of his magic or mystique is he could take a hit. I just don't see Bourne getting to the point where he taking licks like that. So
Bourne, and the thing about Jason Bourne, he just want to be left alone. I'm not bothering nobody. I'm not doing nothing. Just leave me alone.
He's just looking for his birth certificate. Just let him ride.
Remember, it was it's the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
They came and shot the man, old lady. I'm over wherever I am. I'm minding my own business.
They called him out of
hiding over here, and then you shoot my old lady. Now. You're gonna take the rap.
That's one person radar you do not want to be on.
No, and one of the scenes that is the quality scenes, and when he said he was talking to the guy and basically on the phone, and he's basically talking
about when he was
I see you right now.
Yeah, he had a sniper rifle or something.
Yeah,
right?
and he was like, "I see you right now," or
yeah,
if you were there, you would see me. Man, I'm like,
he 5 steps ahead. And here's the thing. So I'm jumping into my number 3, but
yeah, go ahead. Let's go.
So with X-Men,
that's not my number 4. That's not my number 4.
Yeah, so with X-Men, we dealt with a guy who was losing memory, and then we jumped into your number 4 with a guy who lost his memory. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna keep that theme going because Jason Bourne is in my number 3, but it's not Jason Bourne. It's not Jason Bourne though. It's the Ocean's franchise where we actually see Jason Bourne. So Jason Bourne is in this franchise. This is basically it's an all-star cast. I love heist movies. And I'm talking about these guys are so smooth, and there's no weak links when it comes to the Ocean's trilogy.
Yeah.
I rock with part 2. A lot of people don't. It's cool. But part 1 and 3, you with Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 13, the numbers throw everybody off. But you cannot tell me you don't rock with that. The fact that it was, I just remember watching this movie as a kid, and this was like one of the first movies I felt like I felt like the smartest guy in the room because I understood it, because these are sophisticated heists, and it's like it's kind of like it's a present day who done it. Instead of guessing who killed somebody, you have to guess how they did the heist. So I love it. I feel like heist movies don't come close. For this movies to have so little action, it's amazing how they capture your attention. So if you haven't watched Ocean's film, start off with Ocean's 11 and watch the whole trilogy. They are solid. So quality. Shout out to just all-star cast. You got everybody. Everybody's a nice addition on that. And then RIP Bernie Mac. So yeah.
RIP Bernie Mac. My number 3, you already discussed it. I'm just gonna give a couple of piggybacks on it. Mine is The Matrix. With The Matrix, again, what more needs to be said? My favorite one is when he got his powers. He started to fly. Part 3 was dope because he had to basically he went on the cross to die.
Yeah, he literally died.
That's what he did. He went on the cross to die.
He died like this.
My number 3, Matrix. Again, we discussed it. No more else to be said. And what's funny, Barry, if you haven't changed yours, our number 1, our 2 and 1 are the exact same.
I'm not sure because you remember what I had as 1?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, all right, because it's gonna throw a curveball, but
maybe you changed it then.
Wait. Our 2 and 1 are the same. So let's get into our 2. That means if I'm not jumping the gun here, We got the MCU is number 2.
There you go. MCU is 2.
And this way you could cheat. Like at the end of the day, if you want to count the 4 the 4 Avengers films, it's still making my number 2. If you want to count the entire franchise, everything that was produced under the Disney or Paramount umbrella for the early films, it's still making my top 2. Like Avengers came out, I got that Blu-ray. I watched that thing every weekend.
Bro.
Yeah, I was just like,
I watched it so much.
I was just like, Dad, I said, man, Iron Man is really legit. And I said, wow, like this man Hulk is really legit. And Black Widow is really legit. I was one of those guys who just thought it wouldn't work. I was like, man, they messing up. Iron Man is a strong franchise and they about to mess it up. Trying to force this cinematic universe, it's not going to work because of the Spider-Man 3 rule. I just always had this blanket idea that you can't put that much villains or that much heroes in a film. So I was like, it's not going to work. And when I went into the theater,
lo and behold,
I said, I was tripping, man. I went to the theaters to watch this like 4 times. And I used to work in a theater back in high school.
Yep.
Outside of that, I do not rewatch movies in theater like that. So the fact that I kept going back for this one, I was in love with this film. Still in love with it. And let me talk more about the franchise. I'm not as in love with every installment like everyone else is.
No.
There's a lot of weak links that come in, but they don't make bad movies. They just make either movies that are good, and occasionally they make movies that are great. But those great ones, Captain America, Winter Soldier. I thought Captain America was lame until Winter Soldier. And then I don't have my Captain America shirt today, but he's my second favorite Avenger now.
Yeah.
The arcs for those guys are awesome. I like Infinity War better, but I understand why Endgame had to happen. It was so rewarding to see everything that kind of like finished their arc. And
one thing about them, and we've discussed this, and maybe another podcast we'll discuss. Or not podcast, one of our another episode, we'll discuss something dealing with DC. But one thing about Marvel, they had misses.
Yeah.
They had plenty of misses.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, they still did a great job when they started from the first, because I think they knew where they wanted to go. So they started to tie in, drop a character in this movie, drop the character in that movie.
They make all of their movies relevant because the webs run so deep to where it's like, well, even if you hate this movie, don't forget this is when they established this. Like Iron Man 3, I rock with as a Christmas movie. And I think sometimes when you're judging a movie off of that Christmas festivity type stuff, you allow the quality, you could knock it down a couple grades. But I will admit, it's a bad movie. Like to me, I look at it as a joke because I rock with Shane Black, which was the director. I'm like, okay, this is his love letter to 90s or 80s action movies. That's what it is. It's a joke. But it's a bad movie. So I'm like, I still rock with it. However, even if you don't like that movie, it's rewarding when you see the kid from that movie
in the end game.
So all of their movies have that characteristic where it's like it's a redeeming quality for all of their films. So Michael Kai White was in. Now that I think about it, R.I.P. But he was in the Harlem scene in Hulk. So now Incredible Hulk, people are gonna go back and look at that like, oh, shout out to the homie. So so we both got that.
You got that, number and one. I believe
I'll let you do the honors.
I'll do the honors for number 1 since you did number 2.
We both have it.
Number 1, Harry Potter.
Yeah, and amen.
Listen. Harry Potter is, in my opinion, is my favorite series of all time.
In my opinion,
now, does it mean I'm going to watch it all the time? Because I watch. We're going to go into some honorable mentions.
I watch it every year, Bill.
But Harry Potter, I watch it. I watch it every year.
Yeah. This is the franchise, along with Star Wars, to where Avengers is starting it because they have those marathons now. But when you watch it in its entirety. So that's the reason why a lot of people nobody gonna sit there and just watch. I'm just about to watch Half-Blood Prince. No, you gotta start from 1 and get to the Half-Blood Prince.
You gotta start from the beginning.
So Fox Family used to do the marathons every Thanksgiving going into Christmas. So that's what built the habit for me to where before I start my Christmas marathons, in November, me and my kids sit down and watch part 1 through 8, 7.2.
And for them to have college courses built based on Harry Potter, like our curriculum is Harry Potter. This is the curriculum.
Yeah.
So to go from where it started, think about it starts in this thing.
It starts up for kids.
It started in a woman's head.
Yeah.
And she just put pen to paper.
That's the part people don't give a lot of credit for. For me, like everything else, there's a launching pad for everything else. Like for Star Wars, people say, okay, he got the idea from the serials with John Carter. For Marvel, they obviously is derived from the comic book, which is a bunch of minds together. For her to come up with this whole world and universe with no launching pad, I was like, that's crazy. But I thought this movie this came out around the same time as Lord of the Rings. And but like the kids used to love the books. I get it. But there was like a stigma for people who liked Harry Potter movies. It was like, oh, people who like Lord of the Rings, people who like Harry Potter, they're lame, they're nerdy, they're dorky. And it was like my English teacher, it was nothing to do one day. If you finished your exam early, your writing exam, we were going to have like a movie day. And we watched the movie day. We watched Philosopher's Stones or Sorcerer's Stone. And I was
Sorcerer's Stone. Yep.
First
one. Let's go.
I said, hey, man, this is pretty good.
This is pretty good.
I said, hey, and I watched part 2. I was like, this is pretty better.
And what I loved about the series, you'll see something in part 1 that you're not going to learn until part 6. And then they're going to refer back to part 1. Like even
are you
serious?
The thing with Snape happened. I'm like, how did you know all this? And then even the way they deal with the Horcruxes, they don't. Yeah, and it's like you kept if you look, you could see Dumbledore's hand. But for me, I'm like, even if you don't need those connections. For me, it's awesome watching kids. I like when kids are the heroes, and to watch them grow from little kids to adults dealing with this monster. And he who shall not be named, hey man, it's like he's not no because I kept thinking like it's a rated PG-13 villain. It's like why are these kids gonna be the last hope for humanity? And then when he comes and he's like killing mudbloods and stuff like that, I was like, oh, this dude actually serious. He like really trying to kill you.
You're thinking he may be
a
rated R movie.
Yeah, so, it's very dark. And I love this franchise. It's my favorite franchise.
I love it.
To me, it's my Star Wars at the end of the day. Like people who grew up with Star Wars, I didn't grow up with Star Wars, so it's not necessarily a rewatchable franchise for me. But this one, I was on board after part 1, and I just was there opening day every day at the theater afterwards.
So, and remember, Star Wars ended from when the 6th movie ended to where the first movie started. Years in between.
Yeah.
So Harry Potter just went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It went on.
Yeah, so. The other thing is, in my opinion, there's no such thing as a bad Harry Potter film. Like I hear whispers of what people say about the episode 1, 2, and 3. You don't hear that with the Harry Potter franchise.
No.
Maybe I used to hear talking about 7.1, but it stopped because it's like people love the discussion of the Horcruxes. Like I'm like, hey, I want. Let's find these Horcruxes, man. I'm trying to find these Horcruxes. So I rock with.
There's not a bad.
There's
Harry
no
Potter
such
movie.
thing as a Harry Potter,
No.
A bad Harry Potter movie. And everybody I put on the franchise, they shut up. Like it's like my wife was doing all of this. She was saying, I ain't trying to watch that. And then we watched it when
now you
Thanksgiving. Yeah, she like put on the next one. Can you explain this? I'm like, exactly. Like these movies are raw. Like chill. Put some respect on their name. So
hey man.
I heard your top 10. You were respectful to sit patiently and let me get my top 10 out, Bill. What could these people in the that's getting kind of like anxious in the audience? What could they do?
Y'all know what to do. Go down to my 2 cents. Go to the comments. Hey,
let us know your
do
top
you agree
10.
with us?
Yeah.
Of course, we left some off. So I got a couple written down real quick, Barry. Let me just run through them.
Back to the
Future, Blade, John Wick, Mission Impossible, Karate Kid for me, House Party for me, Rush Hour for me. You got your Superman series, you got your Lord of the Rings, you got your Spider-Mans, you got your Batmans. So
James Bond,
you got your James Bonds.
Yeah.
So
come on, we left off a lot. So
we left off a lot, man. We only got 10 spots.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, this is where we get to cheat. We're gonna live vicariously through y'all. So
yeah. So
put y'all top 10 in the comment section, and then some of y'all could cheat and put more. I'm not gonna snitch, but hey, just let us know. And if we off track, like these are our personal favorites, so you cannot be wrong with an opinion. But just let us know if you agree, if you rocking with our list, or are we tripping on some of these. So that's what's up. So outside of that, Bill, it's one more thing they could do. What's up?
Hey, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so that you are getting our content firsthand when we drop it. We appreciate the support. We appreciate all the love that we get. And hey, my 2 cents, you know what to do.
Awesome. Hey, man, that's all I got, Bill. Peace.
That's all I got. Peace.